Brute force is then used to break free of the joint agent. Strike a post. The equity tiger's paws were shocked, and his face was solemn. This guy easily wiped out 100 million, and I lost to 100,000. I was weaker than him, and suddenly remembered the appearance of my master. Then he rushed towards Chui Wukue. It's impossible. And Li Jiyu on the other side also felt bad. Due to physical reasons, the opponent attacks from a distance, or a close-range attack. All are good at it, and it's also very flexible. I was completely crushed by the other party, although one can get him down. But now don't mention being dropped. Didn't even make a decent attack. Really? In the next second, Li Jiyu was knocked down by Hong Yaxing. Meantime, Kim Soon-Kol's attack was also blocked by Choi Mukue again. There is not a single flaw to be found. Kim Soon-Cheol just wanted to use brute force. Happened to fall into Choi Wukue's hands. Knocked down by a sweep, and just when Choi Wuke was about to be proud, Hong Yaxing suddenly shouted to him to be careful behind him. But it was too late. Li Jiyu on the other side suddenly made a sneak attack. The angry Hong Yaxing gritted his teeth. They fight. What do you meddle with? Li Jiyu showed a smug smile, man to man. Female to female, who is prescribed to fight like this? That's how 2-on-2 fights. The idiot said. Kim Soon-Chul appeared in front of Hong Yaxing. Bang punch. In this way, Kim Soon-Chul can also hit Choi Mukue. A punch from Li Jiyu. He also successfully hit Hong Yaxing in the abdomen. The two who were extremely arrogant just now. It's been completely messed up. Yes, that's how you deal with a little couple like them. Just let them care about each other. Distraction. It's up to another person to do it. While Choi Wuhue was worried about Hong Yaxing's distraction, reasoned and appeared behind Choi Wu. Another thud in the corner. The smoother was a little surprised. People who have studied martial arts and martial arts have a characteristic. That is, there will be no group fights. In themselves, I've been used to working with those two guys since I was a child. It's no stranger to this kind of group fighting. But Li Jiyu coped with the situation for the first time. But it can be handy. He will look at the big picture. Soon, Hong Yaxing panicked and shouted Choi Wukue to come over. Choi Mukue will win immediately. The two are back-to-back. In this way, a one-to-one situation can be formed again. Hong Yaxing opened his mouth if he couldn't stop them. We can't take it from Pai Han Yu. Reap the benefits. That's right, Choi Mukue is out of breath, I know. Honey, let's do it quickly. I don't have time to show affection to them. So much so that it swings away from driving. Kim Soon-Chul slapped his face, although it caused him a little damage. But want to win? A decisive blow is needed. Hong Yaxing faced Li Jiyu, who rushed over. Pulled down Choi Wukue's belt. Blocked Li Jiyu's way. Raised his belt and walked towards Li Jiyu. And rushed over Kim Soon-Kol. Was also caught by Choi Wukue. Jiu-jitsu out of the airways was used again. But this time, Kim Soon-Kol's expression was calm. Reminds me of the master's jiu-jitsu last time he knocked down the male protagonist. Yes, Tiger Fist is more than just fist. Because there are so many amazing people in the world. So martial arts should also improve. Kim Soon-Chul instantly turned his waist. Hung on Choi Wukue's body. Tiger Fist Tiger Dragon Plate. Li Jiyu on the other side is even more outrageous. Biting Hong Yaxing's belt hard. Hong Yaxing's face was full of shock. I thought I strangled his neck. I didn't expect him to be shorter than I thought. Li Jiyu's legs exert force. Hold the belt in place with both hands clamping the mouthpiece. Actual jiu-jitsu bite and fall. There was a thud of dust and smoke. Kim Soon-Chul and Li Jiwu were out of breath. Both villains went out of business at the same time. Kim Soon-Chul looked at the two on the ground. Although back-to-back will make 2-on-2 form 1-on-1. But the premise is that you can fight 1-on-1. And you trust each other too much. Finish the battle. The two hurried to the male protagonist's side. At this time, the male protagonist is hiding in the corner of a certain floor. Saw the mustache. The police are talking secretly with the Korean language. The mustache asks Pai-han. Ask when to do it to the female teacher. I saw Pai-han take out his mobile phone. I already know where he lives. Now it's just a phone call. The words are not finished yet. The male protagonist suddenly appeared. Kicked the phone away. Pai-han turned around and sneered, I know. Saying so will definitely get you out. Ain't Siming. The male protagonist was furious. The male protagonist is really angry. It turns out that the police who have been colluding with Pai-han. It's this mustache. Pai-han faces the appearance of the male protagonist. A dangerous smile was revealed. Jai Minna, Jai Ming broke into my base. They also attacked me. Look who is more like the wicked now. And, just when the words of Pai-han fell, the mustache has come to the front of the male protagonist. Pai-han walked back leisurely to tell the truth. It makes me feel like an eyesore. It's not just Han Jing alone. In your so-called study group, I can't allow the trip to school become a stage for you to shoot youth inspirational dramas. So what I've gathered now, it's enough to write a report of your dismissal. Do you think you're the only ones preparing to take on the meeting? Want Siming. I've only revealed a little bit of information. I will be able to eradicate you altogether. How efficient. As the words of Pai-han fell, the male protagonist is already angry to the extreme. The mustache squinted at Pai-han. It turns out that this kid wants to use me as a shield. Neither big nor small. Saw the male protagonist whisper and get out of the way. Then he grabbed the mustache's arm. With a look of horror, I told you to get out of the way. The mustache was too frightened to speak for a moment. But the next moment I realized that the male protagonist couldn't do anything with the police. Later, the male protagonist was killed to the Dark Master. Loudly questioned how many of you there are. The blood-spattered male protagonist casually raised his hand and punched. Almost got a concussion with a mustache. Poor and ugly. The fourth is talking about why this guy dares to do this. The mustache shouted a loud scolding. The male protagonist was gently picked up angrily. I just criticized Korean and said that it has always been very emotional. I can hear it clearly. The mustache is arrogant, unabated. So what? Suddenly, a voice rang out. Looks like you're in for some serious trouble. I've taken care of it with Officer Law. It's the voice of a mustache. I saw the male protagonist holding his mobile phone and playing the recording. Uncle, you're not a cop anymore. Yes, just before the study group is about to attack. Taught by Kim Shursian. No matter how you say it. We are now also going to a hotbed of all kinds of ugliness. No one knows what evidence will be found there. Kim Se-hyun stretched out his finger to emphasize. So, once something happens, don't rush up regardless of 3721. Be sure to make a recording. And also, name the male protagonist. So the male protagonist had quietly recorded it before this. The mustache realized that something was wrong, lost his mind, and rushed towards the male protagonist. And the anger of the male protagonist has not dissipated. I must have spoken softly more than once. That last year's random homicide. Did you help him at that time? The male protagonist's feet collapsed on the ground. It's a heel thump that jumps high. Then it landed and began to charge. Like a cheetah, he rushed towards Pai-han. I remembered the injury my mother was injured at that time. He almost lost his loved ones. In Pai-han's arrogant appearance. In Pai-han's shocked gaze. A hard punch hit Pai-han, but he was also hit by Pai-han. The male protagonist's eyes are firm, and it should be you who disappears tonight. Meanwhile, see Leaf Rain in general. Chubby is rummaging through Pai-han's warehouse. Finding something, Gu Jinya flipped over, but stopped instantly. He saw a skin, something that the Korean language should not have. At this time, the male protagonist and Pai-han were on the roof of the base. The two of them made a mistake. There was a thud and another punch. Pai-han speaks, you're not. Want to be a nerd? How dare you beat him? Isn't it a little too risky? After all, the recording may also be deleted. The male protagonist has a serious mouth, so you don't have to worry, because it has been synchronized to the network disk. Pai-han paused, didn't he? That's good. The male protagonist doesn't listen to Pai Korean nonsense. instantly came to the realm of Pai Han. In his eyes, there was only the appearance of Pai Han Yu falling to the ground. The first trick of the uncle's forbidden move. The unilateral beating of the male protagonist to exert his power. The male protagonist looked at the Pai Han language in front of him, and he didn't act rashly, because it was exactly what he thought. And last time, he felt it too. This guy is a master indeed. As soon as the male protagonist came up, he used a move that his uncle forbidden. Unilateral beatings. But Pai Han can be in the male lead. Navigate the swift whirlwind, easily dodging an attack. Step on the ball of your foot. A flying ladder is in the middle of the male protagonist. You think you're kicking me out of school? Can you become what you want it to be? It's too simple. The words are not finished yet. The male protagonist's full front attacked. Poverty and thrills escaped. But he was hit by a side kick of the male protagonist. He didn't care what the outcome would be. As long as you can criticize Korean, it's enough. That's it. The male protagonist and the Korean language, you punch me, finally forced the criticism of Korean into a corner. The male protagonist's right is punched out. There was a loud bang. The glass of the building has been dried out. Blood kept falling from the male protagonist's fist. Pai Han evaded Een Sai-ming when he was in a hurry. Isn't it possible that you're going to kill me? It's been a long time since I've met an opponent who excites me so much. I asked Zeo before, which of the two of us is better? In fact, I have wanted to compete with you for a long time. Said that he was with the male protagonist again. But the leather Korean language that held the fist of the male protagonist leaned that day. Not today. Soon 2 sticks. The male protagonist was arrested in the middle of the Iron Needle. Pai Han Yu showed a smug expression. You're too sluggish, aren't you? It was the mustache that woke up and used a motor gun. In fact, Pai Han Yu has long known about the arrival of the male protagonist. But he didn't debunk. The purpose is to get him to work with. The police build relationships on money. To be further developed. Put shackles on him. Empower the police to be more loyal to themselves. Mustache in order to keep his job. From now on, I must be protected with the determination to die. In an instant, a strong electric current raged in the male protagonist's body. The male protagonist turned his head and looked at the mustache angrily. A hard punch knocked the mustache away again. But at the same time, the male protagonist also fell to his knees. Poor and leisurely walked past the male protagonist. Looking at the mustache on the ground, he picked up the phone and was relieved. I'll still keep your job. The male protagonist fights with his last strength. Hold the ankle of the Pai Han Yu. Trembling all over, you don't want to do anything bad. But the Pai Korean fish just kicked it away at random. At the same time, it is downstairs with Mr. Han Jin. Do you want to start talking about the gangsters? Pai Han Yu squinted at the male protagonist. That's not the end of the story. Kim Soon-cheol and Lee Ji-woo have already rushed up. The left and right strikes caught Pai Han Yu off guard. Pai Han Yu gave a look of disbelief. Where did Hong Yaxing and Chui Wu go back? At the same time, Lee Junjung had a fierce face. What is the real purpose of Pai Han? And in front of him was the dirty man. And the thugs on the other side. Hear the words of Pai Han. It came to an abrupt end. I thought about it. You can't act rashly until you get an order. Lee Ji-woo and Kim Soon-cheol, who rushed over, took a look. I also learned what happened. Wan Sai-ming was hit with a stun gun. That mustache wasn't a good guy either. But why did Een Sai-ming still not stand up? Could it be that there is something hurt? But in the face of this situation, poor Han Yu immediately regained his composure. You don't really think you can stop me? The words fell, and he gave Kyung Soon-cheol a punch with a backhand. Another punch to Lee Ji-yu. Pai Han Yu is alone. The two of them were beaten without the power to fight back. One punch knocked Lee Ji-yu away again. You know you do. Will it cause any consequences? A punch is being struck at the oncoming smooth. Poor and fierce. Do you think you'll be able to live later? A new life is born. Smooth. Looked at Lee Ji-yu, who was struggling to crawl to the phone. A backhand lifted Li Jiyu high. Don't you think? And your brother will be able to see each other again. Bright Li Jiyu. Bang! Li Jiyu landed fiercely. Pai Hanyu slowly picked up the phone door and didn't have it. Teacher Lee Han Kim must disappear. That's the end of your childish youth inspirational drama. Pai Hanyu put the phone to his ear and did it. At this moment, a group of dark shadows are holding weapons. Wait for Mr. Han Jin's house. Teacher Han Jin is about to be in danger. The male protagonist was electrocuted to the ground by the motor gun. Knee injury. Gold. Sun Xiol and Li Jiwu are also not opponents of Pai Hanyu. The study group was in high spirits from the beginning, caught in a situation where he is now mortal. Meanwhile, Li Jun also confronted the pigtailed man. Although Dreadlock's men are bad, but it's not Li Jun's opponent. Was easily defeated by Li Jun. Li Jun looked at the pigtailed man condescendingly. If only I could have taught you the same way I did 3 years ago. You're not going to be like this. But the next second, the dirty man's expression was crazy. The black muzzle of the gun was already aimed at Li Jun. Unknowability was written all over Li Jun's face. In fact, Li Jun and Eun Tai have known each other since they were very young. That's when the kind teenager led him. Remained fresh in one's memory. But when the two met again 3 years ago, that boy is no longer the boy he once was. When it comes to goodbye, Eun Tai very casually 2 cigarettes. It's still a habit of taking it for granted. Ask Li Jun if he wants one. And later with a group every day, the gangsters mingled, bullying the weak. Do no evil. At this moment, the relationship between the two completely broke down. Since that day, he never saw Anda again. I didn't expect it to be like this now. Li Jun became more and more angry. You know because of you. How many people are suffering? You are hopeless. Li Jun slowly walked towards Eun Tai and gave it to me. Do you know what you're taking? But all that was greeted was a banging gunshot. A bullet mixed with the breath of death. Swift past Li Jun. At this time, Pai Hanyu's expression on the other side was gloomy. Whether it's Wu Jinghua or Li Hanjing, it's too simple. Pai Han talks to himself. With that unrealistic idea. Doesn't change anything at all. The words just fell. Angry Kim Sunchul and Li Jiwoo has appeared behind him. I can't read the Korean language. Haven't you figured it out yet? Do pointless struggles. Lift your leg and kick it out. Jing Shun just solves it in a corner. Reason says you can't fight me. Holding Jing Shun just Pai Han, he is still talking to himself. A ferocious punch in the retro of Jing Shunja. So who told you to leave me in the first place? The male protagonist wanted to struggle to stand up, but to no avail. Why do you have to be delusional? It's all your delusion. In the anti-alkaline, overfine, instantaneous fold of the arm. Do you think studying can really get you ahead? Stop dreaming. Under the torture of criticizing the Korean language, Kim Se-hyun spoke with difficulty. A way in which people can enhance their own worth. Only learning. This is the pursuit of Grandpa all his life. It is also a man's belief. It's my insistence. Then he turned his head and yelled, You don't have the right to say that. Pai Korean, but with the crunch of the bones of the smooth. The sound stopped abruptly. The male protagonist is difficult. Other people stood up. I won't let you go. But this tearing pain in general. He couldn't stand it all. He couldn't wait for Pai Hanyu's life soon. But Mr. Han Jin may be in danger now. Poor, and turned his head to mock. It seems that your legs are not very convenient. And in this tense atmosphere, a jingle bell rang suddenly. Meanwhile, study group for everyone's mobile phone. SMS tones rang. The male protagonist opened the phone tremblingly. It was sent by Chui Shiyuan. Pai Han has not yet realized the seriousness of the matter. He thought he had a chance to win, is quietly waiting for victory. But I heard a laugh from behind. It was Li Jiyu who was looking at his phone and laughing. No matter how threatening Pai Han is, Li Jiyu ignored the general laughter and couldn't stop. You say kindness hurts us. Then he turned his head and said with a female expression, "Pai-han, are you underestimating kind people?" Pai-han is a little confused. What is he talking about inexplicable? Why laugh all the time? Meanwhile, Kim Se-hyun, who was on a certain floor, looked at his phone. Choi Hee-won is really... How could you do such a reckless thing? At the moment downstairs in the poor and old nest, bursts of footsteps kept coming. It's the masters of the martial arts hall. All the disciples of the martial arts hall are in place. What's such a kind little girl? There must be a reason to come to us. And on Mr. Han Jing's side, it shouldn't be so easy to succeed. Because Li Zhiyu's younger brother Li Xuanyu was released from prison today. Li Zhiyu turned his head and said, "Is it ready?" Four-eyed maniac. You won't be lame. I can't beat the Korean language. That's right, it's going to turn around from now on. It was the coolest comeback I've ever seen. All members of the study group lay on the ground. The Bad Cops Brigade has come downstairs. Prepare to arrest the male protagonist and others. Prepare to deal with a group of outlaws from Teacher Han Jing. Now I have come to Mr. Han Jing's residence. And just now it was a mortal situation. Suddenly, a group of uninvited guests came. 1. It is a martial arts alliance led by martial arts masters. At a time when the relationship between Wu Guan and Lu Gao had not improved, Cui Shiyuan inquired through the 8 directions. Persuaded more than 100 people from the martial arts gym. In the end, all of them were convincing. It's all thanks to Choi Hee-won's kindness inside. Because of good people, it will arouse the desire of many decent people to protect. That's the terrible thing about good people. The second is to cheer on those who have just been released from prison. Shishing leather-faced boy Lu Xuanyu. As soon as he came out, he was confronted by Officer Luo Taiwan. The obedient called over. Gave him a special t-shirt. The smoother is like a pyramid scheme. Persuade Li Xuanyu to join a member of the Shishin leather-faced boys. Li Xuanyu spoke to the gangsters in front of him. It seems that you don't know you have a criminal record. Oh, terrible man. The little thug's face was gloomy. Put this bunch of milky little-ass kids. Kill them all. Li Xuanyu's eyes were firm, just because I was still a student. The teacher who was the victim. But he opened up to me. I was the subject of a protective sanction. So I have to prove it right to everyone. How to say the slogan of the new leather-faced boy. The country is easy to change. Nature is removable. Li Xuanyu yelled at me. In an instant, the fighting spirit of all the staff was full. With his colleague, the masters of the martial arts hall also showed their own magical powers. The Tai Chi master side at the horse. The Mantis boxing master crosses the tiger catch. In a punch, those who can make a life of a thug can't take care of themselves. Master Kong, the master of tiger boxing. It doesn't matter if the police have stun guns in their hands. Wang Qifan, a disciple of the Tiger Fist martial arts gym, shouted for them to fight. Anyway, I can't hit it a few times. They will block it even with their bodies. Yes, the martial arts hall is not satisfied and the distance value is high. But they have a personal favor to repay. Although the kid with glasses is a bit arrogant. But no matter what he said, he also saved face for the master. And most importantly, he is the proud king of 1,000 stones of Master Ingchuan. Opens up the way forward. Teacher Rihan Kim. The martial arts hall disciples were all high-spirited. Hurt, we fought this battle for that teacher. Although I don't have much interest in learning. But I at least know. The world needs more good teachers. Meanwhile, with the other side, the thoughts of the male protagonist seem to coincide. Because that's the only way. There will be hope for the school. The male protagonist rushed to Pai-han again. He must fight to the end. Despite the constant sharp pain in his legs. Despite the constant attacks of the Pai-han language. But he can't fall. If you hold on, you can't knock him down. At this moment, the skin is cold and embarrassed. Suddenly looked at the male protagonist's right leg. I want to make up for the male protagonist now. But he just fell into the arms of the male protagonist. The male protagonist raised with one hand. Roll up the whirring wind. Rescue the forbidden trick. Fourth trick. Zero distance boxing. It exploded like a nuclear bomb with a thud. Pai-han, and embarrassed, landed. Spit blood from the mouth. This straight look looks like that guy. Sure, Yingzhan remembered that he had decided to go to the high school. What Yingzhan said. That's a good idea. But will it all work out as you wish? Pai-han gritted his teeth angrily. That's right. He didn't expect that there would be such a variable as the male protagonist. Pai-han continued to talk about it. You think I'm gone? Will this school get better? The school you cherish so much will get worse. Then it will be the people around you who will be implicated. What happened today? If one day someone wants to be held accountable, poor and stretched out his hand to the male protagonist, then everyone will surely blame you. I'll tell you why. The male protagonist slowly unbuttoned his collar and shut up. Shut your foul mouth. Hanyu looked shocked. Didn't he want to know? The male protagonist continued, My brain is too stupid. I don't understand your nonsense. I'm not curious why you do such a thing. If something really goes wrong later, it's a big deal. Have you forgotten what I said at the morning meeting? The male protagonist has a finger. I have warned you clearly. Looked at Pai-Hanyu's embarrassed and stubborn appearance. Een Ziming slowly unzipped his clothes. I don't understand your nonsense. I don't care what your reasons for doing these things are. Then Een Ziming stretched out his finger and pointed forward. But I warned you clearly. Pai Korean. Pai-Han rushed towards the male protagonist like crazy. You ignorant fellow. What ushered in was just an elbow blow from Een Ziming. Reach out and grab it and push it downward, so let's stop here. Uncle's forbidden trick is the third move first. There was a loud bang. This heralded the end of the rule of the Pian language. Poverty and teeth are strained together. Bite the tip of your tongue to regain consciousness. Raise your fist again and hit the male protagonist. Do you think I'm going to fall so easily? At the same time, on the other side, Li Jun fell to his knees. Tears streaming down Anta. That guy really shot. No, you bastard. I'm not like this because I'm afraid of death. I think of Anta. Li Jun is close to collapse. Why do people want to be so desperate? Li Jun raised his head fiercely. Li, is it because this is the time to be sad? Be sober. You should go to Een Ziming first. But the next moment, Li Jun found the envelopes scattered on the ground. A letter to Pai-Han. Signed, Mr. Wu Jinghua. Is it the teacher who died? Li Jun opened the envelope in a tangled way. But the contents of the envelope shocked him. At this time, the male protagonist on the other side is still entangled with Pai-Han. Although the male protagonist, the injured leg, is under tremendous pressure. But the male protagonist still held it down. The poor male protagonist doesn't understand it. Why are you struggling so far? Then a hard punch fell. Why do you want to do bad things? Pai-Han spat out a mouthful of blood again. Why? At this time, Pai Korean, the mortal teacher, came to mind. Obviously, I don't care anymore. The teacher kept it over and over again. I want to make myself better again and again. Obviously, even the school gave up on him. The teacher. But he still gets angry with himself from time to time. He is also full of great truths, and the teacher represents society and the times. It's ridiculous. Poor and looking at the male protagonist in front of him. There was once a man like you. It's stupid to think that kindness can solve all problems. You know Luqing School. Who exactly does the Luqing Consortium belong to? You are here to change this school. Who the hell is it for? You'll soon know that it's up to you to win. The male protagonist yelled, Stop talking nonsense. All I know is that some people are suffering. Some people were tortured. Some can only sit on the sidelines. Someone went astray. Someone gave up on their dreams. The male protagonist grabbed Pai-Hanyu's hands and looked up suddenly. Changing it all is for us. This fact will never change. Bang a head hammer. Pai-Han was a complete failure. At this time, Grandpa Pu Jin rushed to the roof of the building, found the male protagonist and the leather Korean language that fell to the ground, pulled up the skin of Korean. What the hell is hoarseness? Why is he here with you? At this moment, Chubby is at the door of the warehouse, a little confused. Gu Jianya. It's like something was found in a warehouse. And then he looked very excited. The male protagonist also looked at this scene suspiciously. I saw Pujinyi take out a disc from his arms. Paihan fell into memory. The woman was weird, just because of the roll call in class. He didn't shout. I sentenced myself to absenteeism. At first, Paihan just thought, he's just a troublesome teacher. But the woman intensified. He also told his father about his truancy. Poor Whisper finally realized that woman was different from the other teachers, almost obsessively drilled into his life. That time, he also openly snatched one of his headphones. He also praised his favorite songs. Why can you be like other teachers? Fear me or simply give up on me. When you think about it, the reason is simple. He just wanted to stand out because of the so-called counsel and martyrdom of the adults. In fact, it is all out of their own interests. My dad told me to study. Isn't he afraid that I will hold him back? He made Mom sacrificed in the sectarian struggle within the organization. This organization was bought in exchange for my mother's life. Do you think I'm going to give up easily? The woman. I definitely want to. Lend me the ability of this gangster son to turn over a new leaf. Strive to obtain the title of teacher how. Then I'll just let you disappear. But something happened not long after. But it completely changed Paihan's mind. Teacher Wu Jinghua came to his house without permission. Paihan, though angry, but I still have to deal with my sister first. Came to the rooftop. Pai asked in Korean, didn't you insist on pushing forward with the grades? Why are you still coming to me? Aren't you afraid of my background? Teacher Wu Jinghua just smiled. Teachers who are afraid of their students. To be able to be an ordinary teacher. But you can't be a real teacher. By the way, Han Shuai, he seems to like you very much. It seems that you are very considerate of your sister. Poor and indifferent, after all, my mother is not around. See, to the point where he is still very strong. It's very distressing. Children need to be cared for after all. But teacher Wu Jinghua suddenly touched his head. How do I feel like you're talking about yourself? Pai Hanyu turned his head in disgust. The mother's face came to mind. It seems to overlap with the smiling face of teacher Wu Jinghua. And Pai Han is just impatient. Annoyedly, he slapped away Mr. Wu Jinghua's hand. Such a move is also redundant. But Mr. Wu Jinghua took out a CD. It was handed to him. This is a gift from my son. The teacher lends you. There was also a letter inside. Take it back and see it. I saw you put that song of Golden Dreams. I made a single loop. You know, where did the inspiration for this song come from? Pai Hanyu looked at it seriously for the first time. The teacher in front of you. Teacher Wu Jinghua turned his head to look into the distance. The most important thing in life is to live a decent life. I hope my students can live a down-to-earth life. Then Mr. Wu Jinghua suddenly pointed to Pai Han. Tomorrow, the disciplinary meeting. You have to be there. If you do something wrong, you will be punished. What matters is whether or not you can repent later. When I got home, I was very unhappy in Pai Han. The woman in just 2 months broke into my life. It made me a naive child in an instant. It's hilarious. But the next day the results will be there. Teacher Wu Jinghua did not attend as scheduled. The woman disappeared according to his plan. Pai Han couldn't believe it, because he didn't carry out that plan at all. Back home, Pai Korean's father called Pai Han separately. Pai Han, my father said, I will help you solve it first. I warned you. I'll only tolerate you once. Pai Han put his hand on his head. Why? I knew that my life would be in danger. Why do you insist on pushing forward with the grades? Why have mercy on me? He even told me that. I don't know whether it's sad or happy in Pai Han. Thank you so much, Dad. After the leather of Korean, the original plan was carried out again. He wants to make this school a cradle of gangsters, because this is the only way to drag Dad's thick soil. With the so-called goodwill. Can't win that man at all. I will do whatever it takes to ruin your future. At this moment, Pu Jinya's speech became more and more weak. Mom told me, will lend him his favorite student hall. But why will it appear in your hands? At that moment, Poo Jinya suddenly realized. The cup was silent for a long time. The day before the session. Learn the group attacking the Korean language. The old dynasty won a great victory. Among them is the gang leader of the martial arts hall. There are also Officer Luo Taiwan and others to protect teacher Han Jing. The goal is achieved. Chi Yingzhen laughed out loud when she learned what happened. The guys in the hidden folk are crazy. Even Uncle Oaxaca's plan was broken. It's a wonderful story. The next day, covered in wounds, the Korean language at the adult meeting. Modern punishment. But it's different from last time. The teacher also came as promised. After the teacher came out of the adult meeting, I was a little surprised to see the scene in front of me. The male protagonist and Kim Shursian limped over. One said it was rolled down the stairs. One hit a power pole last night. What will happen to the male protagonist when he opens his mouth? Teacher Han Jin finally reacted to the boundary. Pai Han was expelled. Although Pai Han did bad things. It's normal to be disciplined. It just feels a little weird. Teacher Han Jin lowered his head and thought, why did it go so well? There must be some tricks. The male protagonist opened his mouth with relief. Punishment will be the result of your efforts. There shouldn't be any tricks. At this time, Mr. Han Jin suddenly approached the male protagonist. I still think it's a little weird. How can you get hurt? The male protagonist looked sideways. Came out of the leather Korean. Pai Korean means two. Took a long look at the male protagonist. Then he continued to leave. Remembering what the male protagonist said when he was at the base. Pai Han is far away, and I hope you can do what you say. Subsequent. Because we go through different changes every day. So everybody changes. So it's a mess. The phrase nature is hard to change does not admit it. Although this phrase means better than becoming. There will be more people who have gone bad. That's why we're struggling. In order to make yourself better. In order to work hard to achieve their dreams. In order to create opportunities in a hellish situation. Because it's because of these changes. We'll give everyone more possibilities. It doesn't matter where your future direction is. Let's work hard for your goals. The boy finally turned his head to look at Jean Shursian. Seeing, then we started a special study for the summer vacation. Good news. I've saved up enough for Season 2 of the Riffraff. From today, Xiaoyu will update the second season for everyone. Contrary to the tense and exciting plot of the first season. It's more of a comedy. In this issue, let the good brothers gamble first. Set in the last season. A study group headed by Ian Ziming, through hardships and obstacles, finally succeeded in ending the nest of the Korean language. It ended with Pai Han being expelled. The first to appear in this season is the general health industry. After the defeat of the Pai Korean language, Poo Jinya and Chubby Car are in pursuit. A dirty man who took the opportunity to escape. Poo Jin is one step ahead of the little fat. Sparks and lightning along the way. Block the dirty man's car, although successfully forced the car to stop. But the general health industry is even with people and motorcycles. Flew up. The dirty man cursed a madman in the car. But I saw that Poo Jinya ignored the injuries on his body. He went up and grabbed him by the neck. A pair of fierce eyes stared at him and caught you. Then there is a fat beating of the dirty man. To ask why, Poo Jin has to hold on to the dirty man. It's all because of the dirty man's mouth before he owes it. Said that he knew about Poo Jinya's mother. The dirty man is in a hurry. Shifted the blame to the Korean language. But he didn't know anything. Poo Jinya had met with Pai Han long before that. Museum. Pai Han said that he had something to explain before leaving. Today's Pai Korean. There is no longer the unruly appearance of the original. What he wanted to say was, Teacher Wu Jinghua was not killed by him. But Poo Jinya actually knew it for a long time. The disc was found in Pai Hanyu's room. To know. Because at that time when he gave his mother the CD, Mom said she would lend it to his most beloved student. If Pai Hanyu is really an obsessive person, Mom wouldn't give that to him. Yes, for Pai Hanyu. Teacher Wu Jinghua also made him feel exciting existence. There was sadness and loneliness in Pai Hanyu's eyes. I'm sorry for Pugiani. It's that I didn't protect my teacher. Subsequently, Pai Hanyu handed a folder to Pu Jianya. Is a list of characters. Teacher Wu Jinghua is also among them. Yes, the stars on this are indeed feathered by Pai Han. But all of them are the main characters his dad is eyeing on them. He wanted to take down the Awabai gang. So, has been paying close attention to my father's every move. List above. It was a mission that his dad had mentioned at least once. Teacher Wu Qinghua on the day before the disciplinary meeting met his dad, and it was the one who was killed that night. So the murderer was his father, dermatitis by. Pu Jianya excitedly grabbed Pai Hanyu's collar. Questioned Pai Hanyu. Why show him this thing? Pai Hanyu showed a sinister smile. Is there your name on it? No, yes. In other words, dermatitis, White doesn't know what your existence is. The purpose of the leather Korean. Precisely. Let the general health industry, this dermatitis, White not know the existence. Break into the interior of the Salt White gang. I want to fight against the powerful Crooked Arm group. The only way is to get a newcomer with dermatitis White. Become his henchman. Then he stabbed him in the back. And until that is done, he had to be the enemy of the study group. And on the other side, the style of the study group is completely opposite. After the midterm exams, the study group decided to come to a summer special operation. That's to the best school in the city. Go to exchange and learn. Learn. She's group is happily walking towards their destination. Shin Se-hyun accidentally bumped into someone. Whoever wants to be a gang of bad people. When a study group chats happily, the new shine has been kicked out for miles by the bad guys. There is no way to communicate before learning. I had to be forced to exchange martial arts first. So, what is the strength of the study group today? What kind of coercion can Ian Siming pretend to be this season? We'll see you next time. Don't look at these students. One is better than the other. But they used to be 6 people and destroyed a gangster den. But in this second season, there are still bad expressions of dissatisfaction. The study group has its first battle. Kim Se-hyun was just as unlucky as last season. As soon as he appeared, he angered a bunch of bad guys. Chased by bad guys as a dog. The study group team can only be forced to face each other. Lee Jun faced the first gangster. First, he sideways dodged a punch from the thug. Then turned around and kicked the thug down in an instant. We're not here to fight today. The second one to appear. It was Lee Jiu, who was ridiculed for his height by the gangsters. He also mocked the study group as a bunch of wastewood. Lee Jiu can do his hand and try not to be noisy. Grabbing a thug by the collar is a fall. They are wastewood, but at least it's not as miserable as you. It's the official that did something here. Lee Jiu is 55.5 meters tall. It has grown 0.5 centimeters taller. This was followed by the last battle. A smoother with a broken arm. Being ridiculed by the other side is a crippled hand. The obedient don't talk nonsense. 5 punches and 5 front palms are struck. 1 arm is enough to be a gangster. And the last bastard. It's about looking the best. Bullied Kim Se-hyun. The ferocious Zhao Jin Shurxian acted publicly. Kim Se-hyun threw a reflexive punch. This is the middle and high power of attacking the Adam's apple. Raise your hand and take a stand. 2 tricks to solve. Although it looks awesome, but in fact, Kim Se-hyun is all gone. But you may be a little surprised. Where did Een Diamond go? The people of Xiamen at this time. I was sitting alone on the bus to school, because I heard that I went to meet my friends who studied well. I didn't sleep all night. Soon study in small groups. We arrived at our destination. In case the school comes to greet them. It is in case the teacher of the school, Mr. Oh Wu-yeol. He was a student of Han Jing teacher. As the crowd walked in, a sense of oppression from key schools came to my face. Over here, all students join a study group. At the time of the holidays, it will also be compensated for by group study. Own inadequacy. And that's not all. Humanities are also opened here. Language mathematics. More than 20 courses in the field of science and art. And there are about 300 students per year, admitted to the top 3 key schools in China. It is a veritable key high school. And before everyone was surprised, a student approached him, teacher of Mandarin column. This is one of the top students in their group. Everyone hurriedly greeted the girl in a friendly manner. But the girl looked at everyone unkindly. Li Jiyu and Li Jun are going to be stupid. Didn't he just say where the bunch of stupid hats came from? Fortunately, he was pulled by teacher Han Jin and Jin Shixian. As the minutes tick by, everyone in the classroom is going to get bored. Because the Jun Ming of this group has not yet come. In June at this time, Ming is being bullied by a group of thugs at the school next door. Just because Jun Ming did not pay protection money to these gangsters. The thugs punched and kicked Jun Ming. Also absent is our male protagonist. Li Jiyu was also helpless. He texted Zai Ming early in the morning. In fact, Sai will come early tomorrow. It turns out that this is the Trillion School. It seems to be a school with a long history. I'm looking forward to it. I've never seen such a silly male protagonist. Was going to go to school in case. The hidden name of communication and learning. I accidentally walked into the school next door. The opposite of the school next door is in case. This school is also the same as Chung Chung Vocational High School. It's the cradle of gangsters. Students inside fight for blackmail. Bullying the weak. Do no evil. And the gangsters who are bullying the students at the moment. Absolutely unimaginable. There was a big guy in the school. At this time, the shadow is in civil affairs. Limped inside. Look at the strange patterns on the stairs. With dilapidated windows. Wan Siming did not suspect that he had made a mistake. I just think that the students here are too stressful to study. And just passing by in the morning, one student was beaten and put on the glass. However, Tsai Ming did not find out. At this point, several thugs walked out of the classroom. Tsai Ming couldn't help but reflect on himself. Their faces were so haggard. It must be because I am too tired from studying. I've never been like this. Watch the thugs whisper quietly. Jae Ming felt that everyone was very shy. Finally, a thug pointed at Tsai Ming. Come with me. Tsai Ming hurriedly followed. The thug asked, why are you here with a high distance value? Do you want to expand your vision? Tsai Ming was a little puzzled. Indicates the range. Fortunately, the next moment, Jaemin finally noticed that something was wrong. But the thugs had already raised their fire extinguishers. Hit the people. Zaimin threw a backhand elbow to knock the thugs flying. Yes, he thought it was strange just now. Sure enough, something wasn't right. Honor students don't throw their glasses like that. At this time, the residents who were working as mats for the gangsters were also a little confused. Why is the person passing by just now so familiar? As he pondered, Ian Ziming is already on crutches and picking 3. Watch the gangster's fist get closer and closer. Ian Ziming fixed the crutches tightly. Soar up a ladder to solve one. Seeing the second thug do it again. The figure of the tale of the battle that appeared in Tsai Ming. Dodge a punch from the thugs, but his little foot slipped and fell to the ground. The thugs seized the opportunity and were preparing to sneak attack. Was beaten away by Zai Ming with a cane. Heard movement outside. The thugs in the house opened the door menacingly. You're pretty much enough. Don't kill people. But the scene in front of him made him stupid. Residents in the classroom at this time didn't know what was going on outside. She was crying for her mom to activate her credit card. If you don't agree to the gangster's request again, he didn't know what kind of violence he would suffer. On the other side of the picture, in case of a student at the school, also explained the reason to Kim Se-hyun. That's why the girl hates them so much. It is precisely because of the school next door in case. They don't have the heart to study anymore. In case of students, they often make fun of the students at their school, and it's useless to call the police. Last time a student called the police for it, it affected the parents. They don't really know what to do. Who can break this dark situation? And right in this moment, in the classrooms of the trillion-dollar school, break the immersion with a bang. The thugs flew in from outside. The dramatist's crying came to an abrupt end at this moment. Mom on the other end of the line was still talking. Why is this child crying? Mom, I'll activate your credit card for you. You save some flowers. The residents were stunned, as if they didn't need it. Why do you say Inzai? The name is the combat power ceiling of this comic. Because he was lame, can fight 3 gangsters by himself. At this time, the boss of the school finally called back. And in Ming, he was making unhurried phone calls. A student who has just been bullied. No matter how much you persuade, it is useless. Tsai Ming was on the phone slowly. The school boss finally couldn't take it anymore. A punch came towards Jae Ming. And in the emptiness of his punch in Ming, put down your backpack in an orderly manner. Take off your glasses. He took the thug's fist casually. The gangsters are so frightened that they doubt their lives. And the slaughter of the people. It was the creaking of the gangster's fist. You're right. I'm going to take this school now. That's right, just now. Yoon Jae-myung is in the mouth of Kim Tae-hyun. Got a very important piece of information. That's what this school has always been. Bullying the students of the school next door in case of emergency. As a result, the students in the school are not interested in learning. And they don't have the heart to learn. It means that the study exchange meeting will definitely not be held. Then the only way is to take the school. With a punch from Tsai Ming. Even the wooden door with the classroom was crushed. And at the same time, on the other side of the school in case of emergency, Jin Shi, Xian also told everyone what happened to Tsai Ming. Li Jun and Li Jiu both finished with serious faces. Something is wrong. The students on the side hurriedly turned around. In fact, I'm also worried about the student named Hidden Min. Nothing will happen to him. And Li Jun, his principal, replied no. I'm worried about those guys. Under the mad beating of the hidden people, the gangster boss doubts life again. This guy is very strong, forget it. Problem. This guy is missing a leg. The gangster's younger brother and Junshio both took a fancy to it. How could such a thing happen? Sure duh. He was in the Great Battle of Ru a year ago. But he fought alone and brought down the existence of 30 people. And in their astonishment, Xiamin dodged the thugs. A slap in the leg and another blow to the thugs. But this also caused a huge pain in Tsai Ming's legs. His leg is still not healed. And the gangsters see the opportunity. A kick in the head. But before his little brother was happy, the thugs let out a scream like a pig. It turned out that it was In Sai who fought back with an elbow. But the gangsters didn't give up there. He leaned down and made a gesture of preparation. The little brother immediately exclaimed, "It's this move that makes the top 10 Supremes nirvana." And looking at the thugs rushing to the slaughter. But I remembered the doctor's advice in my head. His right kneecap was shattered. You have to be on crutches. If you want to heal sooner, don't forget your crutches. I'm sorry, the doctor turned around again. The crutches in his hand slammed out. The first trick that doctors forbid. Martial arts gym, remember. Don't bully the honest guy in the future. Good student of learning. At this moment, In Ziming has a new notoriety. In Ziming, who won the trillion-dollar school alone. Here's what's interesting. After Jae-myung rescued Junshio, Junshio actually called out Yoon Jae-myung's name. After Junsu puts on his glasses, Tsai Ming finally recognized it. He turned out to be In Saming's old classmate. Yu Junshio, who can get the first place in the class every time. You can believe it. Used to be the scumbag boy In Jae-myung. Today, the grade ranking is as high as 110. This shows that his efforts have not been in vain. And not only now, he was also remembered by the top students in the class. You can recognize it at a glance. It turned out that when Tsai Ming was just in junior high school, swear, Dan said that his goal is to be the first in the school. It turned out to be the last in the class. But Shuaba didn't do it because of the boy. I think it's funny when I look like this. Because of Tsai Ming's efforts, he saw them all. I've been studying hard. How could he not remember? He believed that he would be able to do it, because it was among the people he had seen in his life. One of the best. At this moment, I couldn't help but burst into tears. Maybe at the same time as it states the redemption of others. Others are also inadvertently. Heal the wounds that are recorded. The preparation story is still a work in progress. But the study group and others don't know. On the other side of the meteor school dermatitis white came. At this time, Ian Ziming's eyes were staring at the boss. He had never seen such a magnificent school. He thought it was a palace. And it happened to be this time. A female classmate ran down. But accidentally his little foot slipped and fell. Tsai Ming rushed forward with a brisk step. I just caught the female classmate who fell. The girl opened her eyes in a daze. Tsai Ming held his glasses and said that you were okay. And this just happened to hit the girl's little heart. Is this what it feels like to fall in love at first sight? Tsai Ming, who returned to school. Not surprisingly, he was ridiculed by the study group. Even the school can go wrong. It is different from the lively division of the study group. The students' eyes widened. Oh my God! Did he really settle those bastards alone? It just so happened that this was Mr. Han Jing, and they were back. The study exchange meeting can finally be held. In this exchange meeting, that girl just now has completely become Tsai Ming. A little fangirl. Tsai Ming's every move. It's so cute in his eyes. After the exchange meeting, the girl sincerely apologized to the study group. He had always thought before, study groups with the bastards who bullied them. So he will be biased against them. But when he saw the serious look of the study group, only then did I know that I had misunderstood them. Then the girl went to his main goal. With a shy face, he said that he was on the stairs just now. Thank you, and the eyes are perfect for you. Each study group gossiped on their faces. Tsai Ming, this guy is lucky. But after the study group left, in case the students at the school are still a little worried, what if those guys get worse? But apparently, they were overthinking. At this time, it is on the side of the school, in case the boss is looking out the window and shivering. In the future, no one will touch the school people. It was the first time he had seen such a terrible guy. It's only been a moment, just in case the school is also occupied. You know, in a gangster. What is it like to be a teacher in school? Fights are everywhere in school. Threats and intimidation are commonplace. It is often life-threatening. And this kind teacher did not complain in the slightest. Facing questions from former students, although there are also complaints, but Mr. Lee Hanjin's final answer was, I've never regretted my choice, although I also thought about giving up. But as soon as I saw those because of learning, and the children who get together, there will be a lot of comfort. On the last day of the study exchange, study groups come to the capital for a visit. Lee Jun ran towards Gamin with a lock in his hand. It is said to have been written, a concentric lock that wishes and blessings will come true. So much so that he pulled Han. Teacher Jean came to the front of the concentric lock, and the content on the child star. But Teacher Han Jing was stunned. Teacher Han Jing helped us get into a good school. Famous meteor study group. At this moment, Teacher Han Jing smiled. I'm such a happy teacher. In this way, the time came to August in a blink of an eye. Ximin was exercising downstairs in the morning as usual. The movement is elegant and pleasing to the eye. Even the doorman uncle couldn't help but applaud. And he has been a loyal man to the people for several years. It's a fan. Now Tsai Ming's knee has completely healed. At this time, the doorman uncle who was chatting with Tsai Ming. Suddenly, he looked at his watch in horror. Tell Tsai Ming to hurry home. Otherwise, he should be scolded again when his mother finds out. But Tsai Ming smiled and said it was okay, because his mother went on a business trip yesterday. Mom, before leaving, there are not too many requirements for Tsai Ming to study. Just told Tsai Ming to do the same as usual. Be happy. After the school reopens, because of poverty and strictness, the power of the white state is no longer there. The atmosphere in the school is also much better than before. Under the leadership of the student council president amicamaru. All violence is free in the school. Those once tricky little thugs, now they have all changed their ways. Following the approval of the Korean language, in the mouth of the student, which is clearly and reasonably, became the boss of the school. From now on, they can be with Hanjing sensei. I studied here with peace of mind. That's what he meant to be. But soon learned the news of Mr. Hanjing's resignation. And that's not all. Even Mr. Hanjing's phone number has become empty. Although it is also true that being a teacher in this school is tiring. But Teacher Hanjing has done so much for them before. There's no reason to give up so easily. The study group and others all felt that there were 7 tricks. And just when the study group was at a loss, a teacher pops up out of nowhere. He knows. The study group is Ms. Hanjing's favorite student, so decided to tell them the news. Teacher Hanjing did not leave on his own initiative. Instead, he was fired. Most importantly, the day before Teacher Hanjing was fired, dermatitis white has come. Meanwhile, Lee Xuanyu on the other side also launched an investigation. Unexpectedly, Mr. Hanjing's house was also empty. Teacher Hanjing is like the world has evaporated, and Lee Hyun-woo is still here. Met an unexpected person. It was Pu Jianya who was wearing a strict bibang suit. Lee Xuanyu grabbed the dirty pigtails next to him. Men's collar. This series of things. It's all a little inexplicable. Teacher Hanjing is missing. Pu Jianya joined Yen Bibang. Moreover, Pu Jianya seems to know the whereabouts of Teacher Hanjing. Pu Jianya, on the grounds that Lee Xuanyu did a lot of evil before. Beat up Lee Xuanyu. But Lee Xuanyu didn't care. He did a lot of wrong things in the past. He admits he's a fool. But now I just want to know about Mr. Hanjin's project. And in the face of Lee Xuanyu's sincere request, Pu Jianya did it again, trespassing on private homes. Use of violence. I have done so many hurtful things. Now I suddenly began to repent and care about others. Do you think you'll be able to rejoice in this way? Don't be delusional. Disgusting guy. Talked about Lee Xuanyu's pain. Lee Xuanyu frantically threw Pu Jianya to the bottom. A counterattack was carried out. But it's a pity that he is not an opponent of Pu Jin at all. Pu Jianya left the sentence. Tell him not to look for Teacher Hanjin. Then he turned and walked away. But Lee Xuanyu finally caught a glimmer of hope. How can you give up so easily? When in a correctional facility, Officer Ro Taewon told him, You know, why did Mr. Hanjing come forward at that time? Do you block knives for others? Said. Officer Luo Taiwan handed a booklet to Lee Hyun-woo. There are 2 types of general cases. Protection cases versus criminal cases. The former only needs to go to the classroom to be punished. There will be no criminal record. The latter will be in prison for the rest of his life. As you can see, Mr. Hanjing wrote it on that petition. It's all you need to protect. Reasons and not reasons to punish you. At that moment, he thought of anything but himself. No one will write you a petition. So I knew that my life was in danger. I still gave you this chance. There aren't many good teachers like that. Now, Lee Xuanyu once again did not want to die towards Pu Jianya. Rush away, now the only way. It is to bring down the general construction industry in front of him. Forced to ask about the whereabouts of Mr. Hanjin. Even if it is used in despicable means, it will not hesitate. But when Lee Hyun-woo's elbow, after hitting the temptation of Pu Jianya, found that Pu Jianya was still unmoving. How much strength is he hiding? And at this time, it was not calm on the side of Luching School. Once there was a question in Luching School in Korean, although it made the school a miasma. But at the same time, Pi Korean is also the umbrella of the school. And now the hidden name of the Pi Korean language is gone. It is necessary to inherit the task of the Korean language. Other schools in Wisher. The Northern Alliance along the White Gang struck out. This man who looks like a reckless man, with his unique abilities and wrists, just a few years, controlled half of the second gang's power. He is Chi Ying, the first heir of the Yanbai gang. Now with the exit of Pai Han, it is heavily dependent on the southern tense of the Pai Korean language. The forces crumbled. Tooth Shadow Strings Arm finally reached the heart of the southern power. The distance value is high. These little gangsters from Haecheong School is one of Chi Yingzhan's subordinates. But Pai Han is gone. It doesn't mean that a high distance value is easy to bully. These three men were the first to stand up. They are Choi Mukue, a subordinate of Chimpy Korean, former first grade boss Tamo, former student council president Kim Kyu-jin. This moment, Kim Se-hyun was the first to know the seriousness of the matter. Yes, that didn't happen last semester. At that time, it was because of the leather Korean language in this school, and now it has lost the Pai Korean language. The distance of this umbrella is very high. Another person is needed to carry the banner, and this time the vanguard sent by Chi Yingzhan. It's not a character to mess with. The one who took the lead was only one face. We'll be able to catch Choi Wukue's harmony and airway, and also only with force. Completely crushed Choi Wuhue. After the provocation, the thugs left in style. Only the angry and helpless three people were left. At this moment, the study group is also in Li Xuanyu's mouth. I learned a shocking argument. That is, he saw it from the performance of Spectrum Janya. Hankyeong Sensei Sejong is related to Yim Bekbang. Good guy. How could it be like this? Maybe teacher Han Jing has it in his hand. It can cause lethality to Yin Baibang. Some kind of care for the damage. That's why Sejong may be old-fashioned. In the second half of Li Xuanyu's sentence, was congratulated by Li Jiyu. Li Xuanyu, are you kid looking for death? The Zaimin on the side turned around and unloaded his backpack. Walked alone towards the door. Meanwhile, Suk Yi-hyun is in a warehouse. The Iwabai gang test is held. Upstairs, I don't know when I was released from prison. I'm yawning boringly. But the next moment, he looked downstairs in shock. That's right. The examiner of this test is Pu Jianya. Made the title show a smile that was watching the show. The next moment, Pu Jianya quickly kicked over the artist. I saw the strength of Pu Jianya. The thugs looked at each other, rushed towards Pu Jianya together. But the result was still put down by Pu Jianya in an instant. At this moment, Ji Yingzhan's face was full of excitement. Why did you join the Yanbai gang? At the same time, study groups and others. Also caught up with the shadow that left alone. Lee Junwoo Jae Myung found it dark. I didn't see the shadow of Pumiha either. And just when the two of them were at a loss, I happened to see a familiar figure. It was Pu Jianya's friend Jong Do-hoon, the little fat man. He is the closest person to Pu Jianya. You must know the whereabouts of Pu Jianya. So Lee Jun immediately bypassed. Blocked Chung Do-hoon's testimony. Do-hoon turned his head. I saw where you were blocking the back road again. As soon as I saw Lin Ziming, the little fat man immediately gave up and ran away. Because if you want to run, you won't be able to run. But no matter what they say, Mr. Chung refused to answer. Because Pu Jianya had already guessed that there would be such a show. So tell him in advance. Whatever they ask, say they don't know. Chung Do-hoon did not live up to it. Before they asked, he kept repeating that he didn't know. I don't know anything. At this time, Tsai Ming made a final inquiry. I've heard Pu Jianya has been messing with Yin Baibang now. Aren't you, as a friend, afraid that something will go wrong with him? But Jong Do-hoon still looks indifferent. What could go wrong? Ha ha ha, In Ziming. Have you ever thought about revenge for someone? Regardless of whether it will be itself. It doesn't matter what the price you will pay. The feeling of slashing each other with 1,000 cuts. What he went through is beyond your comprehension. All I could do was support him silently behind his back. That's what I think of as friendship. In Tsai Ming heard this. Tsai Ming stopped talking. Turn and leave. Li Jun had no choice but to follow. And just when Jong Do-hoon kept a secret, when I was secretly rejoicing, Li Jun turned around and left a word of advice. Asked Jong Do-hoon to let the other party go in the name of his friend. That's not true friendship, nor is it righteous anger. It's a simple sentence. It sounded like thunder in Chung Do-hoon's ears. Jung Daoxuan was stunned. There are no superfluous words. Speak up. He's really high along the street again. It is a garage of real building materials. Hurry up and see you. That's all I can tell you. I'm sorry for Pugiani. It seems that I don't have the right to be your true friend. On the other side, the toothed strings on the car were laughing maniacally. What a fun guy to meet. Didn't you hear what he just said? The reason why he wanted to join Yin Baibang was because he wanted to surpass me, become the first heir of Yin Baibang. I want to think of him as a low-key person, and Ma Mingchong knocked on the side of the opening. Then if he wants to join Yin Baibang's purpose. It still doesn't matter if it's impure and holds a hidden sage. The idea of filial piety will always change. I wanted to kill Uncle Yin Bai before. And at this time, Putin was obviously blended in with Yin Baibang. But his expression was lonely. A person sits in a corner in a daze. Finally, under the push of the gangsters, walked towards the motorcycle mom. I won't regret it. And at this very moment, a taxi pulled up nearby. Yoon Jae-myung appeared. In order to find the Pumi Leaf, Een Ziming and Lee Jun broke into the gangster den again. Before the gangsters finished their cruel words, Een Ziming pressed the thugs to the ground. This is a move that my uncle forbids. The third trick is to arrest him. Today, in order to get the whereabouts of Mr. Hanjin, I've asked several people. In Puma's shocked gaze, Een Ziming said coldly, "And you're the last one." Soon more thugs swarmed around. And Tsai Ming just said lightly that he didn't want to get hurt. Just get out of the way. And after the gangsters heard Tsai Ming's words, instead, there was a burst of laughter. Then he didn't say a word, went up towards Een Ziming. At this time, Lee Jun also walked in front of Pu Jianye. No matter how Lee Jun asked, Pu Jianye refused to answer, said impatiently to Tsai Ming, "It should be a matter of duty to deal with those people. What if you have to deal with 100 people?" Lee Jun kicked it over. Pu Jianye's motorcycle has a grim face. He doesn't care how many people he's dealing with. Now he just wants to know about Han Jing's project, even if he is an enemy of Pu Jianye who once helped him, although the smell of gunpowder is full. But Pu Jianye was not angry. On the contrary, it is indicated, "I won't tell you about Mr. Han Jing. It's for your sake. But since you want to know so much, then I'll tell you." At this time, the people were still fighting, even though the gangsters have the advantage in numbers. For Zamin, it's all one by one. Although for the people, none of these gangsters are worth mentioning. But Jamin is still dressed very spicy, because he's in a bad mood right now. Soon the battle was settled. Ran towards Lee Jun's side. But he found out. Lee Junjung sat on the ground in despair. Een Siming was about to catch up with Pu Jianye. Was stopped by a car. In the district, Lee Jun also called out softly, "Ming isn't the people's respect. Forget it, Een Jae-ming has some differences." "Why?" Pu Jianye looked at Zai Ming. "Do you want to listen too?" During the summer vacation, teacher Han Jin investigated my mother's affairs. In the end, I almost discovered another truth. But that's because of it. Teacher Tan Jing passed away. The rain fell as the leaves turned into a common eye. Ng Ziming's pupils contracted instantly. Memories flashed through Ming's mind. Teacher Han Jing, from that tutor who encouraged him to learn. It became again the homeroom teacher who showed him the way to his native path. Teacher Han Jing has done so much for him. But has he ever repaid Teacher Han Jing's kindness? And it is in the Ming Shin System class. More members of the Rock White Gang have appeared. Countless cars clogged up the streets. The windows in front of you are pulled down. What leaked out was a dirty man sitting in the driver's seat. Hurry up right away. The 3 Iwabai adult groups will be held here. Opportunity slipped out the back door. Come with us, if you don't want to offend 100 people. After escaping from the meeting place, Een Saming's expression was still calm and terrifying. Then he left without saying a word, and he walked into the distance. Tsai Ming dragged his school bag like this, walked downstairs to the community, and the next moment, Tsai Ming's figure was instantly stewed. An attack of spiritual power suddenly struck at Tsai Ming. This horrific offensive, even the strongest boy in the whole comics, it can only be slashed passively. And the move seemed to be the same as Tsai Ming. Who is this man? Who exactly is this man in a sweatshirt? Was able to fight back and forth with Tsai Ming. No matter how spiritual power Yoon Jae-myung's offensive is, athletic Shannon can easily parry. Finally, under a roundabout staircase in Tsai Ming seized the opportunity, instantly promoted to the front of the man, first with a quick hook, obscured the man's view. Then a sharp side kick is struck. The man flew out of the meter in an instant, but looked at Yoon Jae-myung, who rushed in front of him. The man smiled. With one of the white legs of the Zaimin, the man stepped on the wooden horse behind him. Then it shot out like a sword off the string. You're still not good. Smack a flying ladder to solve the battle. And the shadow name that was obviously knocked down. But he didn't stand up for a long time. The figure of this man. It is so familiar in Tsai Ming's eyes. That's right. He is the founder of the hidden boy forbidden move. Tsai Ming's uncle Kwon Yongxia. And before the uncle and Tsai Ming drank heavily, found that the boy was bright at the moment. His eyes were dripping with tears. Return home. My uncle finally found out what had happened. It means that Tsai Ming is not in a state today. This sparring was ineffective. And looked at Tsai Ming's lonely appearance. But my uncle didn't know how to comfort him. Someone who can make Tsai Ming show that kind of expression. Looks like he must be a good teacher. It's hard for anyone to accept such a thing. And your uncle changed his style at this time. Then don't accept it. A scientist once proposed a hypothesis. In fact, there is more than one in this world. There are an infinite number of universes that exist at the same time. And we're making a choice at some point. It will also lead to various parallel universes. Listening to my uncle's absurd remarks, Zaimin was confused. And the uncle said with a smile, if this assumption is true, so, if you accept the death of the teacher here, the teacher's death could become a reality. What if that guy named Pu Jinya lied to you? Yes, as long as there is a silver lining. That means there will be more possibilities. So don't give up on your teacher, Yoon Jae-myung. It's like he didn't give up in the first place. At this moment, Zaiming's fists clenched hard. He knew what to do now. And after speaking, my uncle collapsed on the couch. He was going to stay here for the rest of his life. At this time, in a study group classroom, in the civil era, the words of the uncle woke everyone up. Let everyone not give up hope. At this time, Lee Jun suddenly took out an envelope. This was found in his den of Pai-han. It is a handwritten letter written by Mr. Wu Jinghua to Pai-han Yu. In this letter, except for a few words of blessing to Pai-han, there's another clue. It's a photograph of a place. The back of the photo reads, "Go here and learn your father's secrets." And the letter has not been opened. Explain that Pai Korean has not been read. Sian had a thoughtful expression at this moment. Summarize the clues that are known so far. Teacher Wu Jinghua's death marks. Probably not because of Pihin. Rather, he discovered some kind of secret. Gu Jinya also said, Teacher Han Jing discovered another truth. So to speak, Teacher Han Jing also knew this secret. Other words, if we find this place, maybe you can find clues related to Teacher Han Jing. Just do it. Now the photo has been printed. It was distributed to all members of the study group, but want to be in the grade too. Find such a place. Easier said than done. Study groups can only do this by asking around and online information to try to find, but the results were not ideal. And so it went on for a week, looking at the sighing shadow on the sofa. Your uncle is concerned. Jae-myung told his uncle about the photo. Unexpectedly, the uncle who was drinking the drink said casually, Isn't this there? I've been here before when I was working as a concrete worker. Interested in going and having a look. but I'll leave it to you to wash the dishes later. How unlucky Kim Sure-yun is. Just passing by an alley, with just a few thugs, inexplicably pulled to the underground garage. Crazy lap kicks, although there have been attempts to resist, but there are many people on the other side. Kim Se-hyun is not an opponent at all, and just when the thugs were ready to do it again, suddenly a thug was given a heavy kick, flew out of several meters. The person who came was none other than Tianchi Maru, who had just passed by. He also happened to be passing by, because next to it is his media company. Tenchimara gave the gangsters two options, whether to roll directly or roll again after being beaten. But the gangsters are not afraid. Taunts also began, and the last words of the gangsters. But it made Tenchimaru's pupils shrink instantly. You little are trying to provoke me. Just made my yun change. Now it's you again. After speaking, the thug raised his fist and rushed towards Amikamaru. In exchange, it was Tenakamaru's rapid approach. It seems that I can't just let you go today. It's a heavy uppercut. The scene was brutal. Yes, these gangsters are for Amikamaru, are all inconsequential little people. But just now, that gangster mentioned Ma Yun-hwan. Then he can't easily let these gangsters go. Before the thugs could react. The next moment, Tenakamaru's fist was like raindrops. It fell on the gangsters. This is Tenakamaru's special move, the first move to chase the dragon. With the final blow falling, the gangsters were directly sealed outside by Tenakamaru. Kim's, Hyun, and the gangsters both looked at this side in shock. It's so powerful. It's like looking at Een Sai-ming. Did Ma Ming-hwan come out? The gangsters hurriedly explained. Now Ma Ming-hwan has been hanging out with Ji Yingzhan. It should have been made of salt for nothing. After saying that, the gangsters were trying to leave quietly. Outcome is still in the same position as his boss. And at the moment on the other side, Jamin and his uncle also came to the location of the photo. Jamin picked up his phone and compared it. Outwardly, it does look alike. But the uncle interrupted Sai-ming's words more than appearance. I feel like we've found the right place. And just when the uncle's words fell, the thugs hiding in the shadows have appeared. Soon the thugs stopped the two of them to feed. What are you doing here? The uncle immediately put out a human animal. Harmless expressions. Let's talk about us. We just went to a friend's house to play. Passing by here. And the gangsters don't intend to let them go. Step by step, they approach the two. It's strange that my uncle still keeps smiling. We just want to get into this building. It's weird. Could it be that you have hidden gold, silver, and jewels in it? Or it's poisonous, and it can't be discovered. Finally, under the provocation of my uncle, the thugs punched in, and the uncle just dissolved it lightly. It was a punch to the thug's chest. Look at the reaction of these gangsters. Sure enough, it's greasy. Then the uncle hooked his hand at the thugs. Let the horses come hear me. Let you have 5 tricks. Next lesson. Countless thugs poured in from all directions. Uncle and Sai-ming were back to back. Let's play a little game. You're in charge of that side, and I'm in charge of this side. Let's see which of us finishes first. The words fell. The two figures disappeared in an instant. The uncle was the first to knock out a thug. Then he didn't even look at the thugs who attacked behind him. Solve it again with a backhand punch. Despite such a chaotic scene, my uncle is at ease. Each stroke kicks a thug with precision. Every action is just right. In the eyes of the thugs, Uncle can no longer be described as human. You call this a vagrant. There was a loud bang. The last gangster was also solved. And when the uncle looked at Een Sai-ming's side also ended the battle. I was holding up a thug and asked yes. The reason why he kept this bastard. It's because he heard it clearly. This thug just said that she was a female teacher last time. This time there was another student. Een Sai-ming's face was terrifying. What did you do to the teacher? But the uncle pulled Sai-ming aside. Gave the gangsters a new position. Hurry up and answer my nephew's question. If I don't want to use chopsticks with my left hand later. The thugs hurriedly summoned the pump. We just confirmed our identity. And they drove him away. I don't know what happened to him after that. The uncle continued to ask, "Who did you give his personal information to?" The gangster just wanted to say that he didn't know, but under the pressure of his uncle, he quickly changed his words. "It should have been handed over to Chi Yingjian from the Lianbai gang. I heard that information. In the end, it was handed over to a guy named Chi Yingjian." How sophisticated is Ding Saming's uncle? Obviously, he has forced out the clues of teacher Han Jing. But my uncle ran to the side and looked at the meter. It seems that it is really poisonous. Then he was lazy and said, "And no, it is generally highly toxic. It's a super poison case." It's not just my uncle. Tsai Ming also gained a clue. Ji Yonghyun told him in his sixth sense of Mayong. Sooner or later, he's going to get into a big fight with that guy. After this incident, Yin by Gang Balian also began to take action, on the grounds that Lu Gao first provoked, began to bully the students of Deer High, because Lu Gao does not have the protection of the leather Korean. Other schools are becoming more and more unscrupulous. A school bully who has just been bullied. At this moment, helpless tears were also shed. It's fucking unpleasant. It would be nice if the Korean language was still there. And when he passed by the silver with silver, his mood was even more uncomfortable. It's all because of you, Ian Ziming. But he didn't expect it to be just as he was about to leave. The boy behind him actually said who did it. At this moment, Xiaoba's figure stopped instantly. Tsai Ming repeated it again. "I asked you who did it." Meanwhile, the gangsters on the other side began to bully the old man at the vegetable stall again. Don't be ashamed of your low-level behavior. On the contrary, I am proud. And just as the gangster's stick was about to fall, an assistant made the thug stop the hole in his hand. It is the Jingshun who passes by accidentally. The thugs immediately began to taunt the smooth, a handicap to join in the fun. And the elite is just biased towards the old man over there. I remember my grandfather, who had passed away. Kim Soon-chul sat down with his fist clenched on the cutting branch. "One hand is enough for me." As Kim Soon-chul said, soon the younger brothers were all solved by Kim Soon-chul. And it's in Kim Soon-chul. When you get rid of the last little gangster, Zimao suddenly flew and attacked. Kim Soon-chul was kicked to the ground. And here Kim Soon-chul just got up. Zimao started again, and it was aimed at Shunja's right hand in a plaster cast. Kim Soon-chul punched back. Zimao also punched Kim Soon-chul. Then he kicked Shunja's. The right hand took advantage of Shunja's pain. Another despicable punch in quick succession. Finally, Shunja was completely blind, grabbed Zimao's neck with one hand. In Zimao's eyes, the smoother at the moment, it's like a tiger biting its prey. I'm not going to die like this. Fortunately, Zimao's younger brother came to help. Shunja ducked his head and dodged. The younger brother hit the boss right on the head. Then he threw another punch and knocked the little brother over. The thugs of the moment. I no longer dare to act rashly. It's strange that guy is obviously handicapped. We also have a numerical advantage. But why can't the momentum compare to him? And Shunja's situation at the moment is also the end of the strong mother. But he has always followed master's teachings. Learn kung fu. Be brave and courageous. Punish evil and promote good. Even if you have to fight for your life, you have to prove it to them. Looking at Shunja, who rushed over like a fierce beast. The thugs are already panicking. And just when Shunja was about to make a move, suddenly a fist hit him in the head. I don't know when. Another thug popped up. This gangster is Haechong's school. Huang Dace, known as the yellow-faced big brother. Ranked second in Haechong's school. Huang Dace did not manage the smooth person. Instead, the thugs present were summoned. I heard that the students of Lugao were coming to attack us. Seeing that the thugs are gone, and Zimao stayed at the end, kicked the smoother who fell to the ground. I heard that none of your friends were coming. And the one who hears this. Instead, he smiled. You just said that I am the core figure of Lugao. Sorry to disappoint you. I'm nothing at Lugao right now. Can you believe it? Yoon Jamie Young. actually took on the responsibility of Lu Gao's boss. This time he was really angry. He's already promised. It will make Luqing Vocational High School a good school. But that yin by gang. Not only does teacher Han Jing's life and death unknown, also openly bullied Lu Gao's students. In civil necessity to make these people pay. And how can you be the boss without the younger brother? The premise is that Choi Moo-kyu, a subordinate of the Korean language direct agency, took the lead in asking for battle. And then, it's an angel pill who wants to find Ma Minghwan's revenge. And the last one is Lee Jun. The vice principal is going to be stupid. How did the school deed of the office be stolen again? A counterattack led by Tsai Ming officially began. Looked at Lee Junjung stupidly. Choi Woo-kue was a little worried about whether he could do it. And Tsai Ming just replied lightly to the secret room. Tenchi pill. But he was secretly excited in his heart, and he laughed quite a lot. And soon a few people met the first batch of thugs. The leader is by Yuchon of Haechong School, ranked 4th in Haechong School. And in the face of this kind of thing, Tsai Ming and the others continued to move forward without looking. It is enough to leave it to Lee Jun here. Lee. During this time, it was all trained by Tsai Ming Lai himself. Tsai Ming knows that the current Lee Jun is very strong. The thugs were stunned by the strong kicks. Just now, when Lee Jun just came out with a laughing gas, Jin Shurxian said something for our kind of dick. It's not worth it. But Lee Jun was a little puzzled when he heard this. What are you talking about? Aren't you the first in your grade? Said in Minzen. I want this to be a school where you can learn. Of course, you who are good learners must take the lead. At this moment, Lee Jun looked at the gangsters in front of him again. And you have made the most unforgivable mistake. Trampled on the self-esteem of the school. And quickly, the gangsters saw Lee Jun's strength. Every move is just right, without the slightest blemish. And hold it in your hand the whole time. Laugh and fight with only your legs. Hiding in the corner of the two passing by. The leather-faced boy looked stupid. Today's Lee Jun. It's like a second woman in the people. Soon Lee Jun noticed the gangster's head. The head has been watching the battle from the side. Why isn't he stupid? And Lee Jun called him, and he didn't reply. The angry Lee Jun flew up directly. If you are in a daze, you should be beaten. But it was a punch from the gangsters. It turned out that the gangsters found that Lee Jun was fighting with only his legs. It's like deliberately controlling. And Lee Jun's legs can't complete the action. It's his dead end. Yes, that's right. This gangster made a name for himself by analysis. When fighting, they will fight on one side, while analyzing the enemy's weaknesses. After he saw through Lee Jun's moves, Lee Jun has always been passive. Finally, in the next moment, the gangster made a mistake and was caught by Lee Jun. Lee Jun's legs were draped high. Nailed the thug's head directly to the floor. What's so important about fighting with your feet alone? As long as you can win. It's just that my practice period isn't over yet. And when the thugs look up, I happen to see the smile on the wall. The gangsters are terrified when they think about it. Could it be said until now? This guy wasn't cornered by me. It's to put that school enterprise. Deliberately brought me here. This made the gangsters even angrier. Didn't expect this to happen. Lee Jun still gloated and mocked. It's enough to deal with you with your feet alone. And at this time on the other side, several people also hit the interior of the enemy. Several people showed their talents. And compared to the front, behind the gangsters is even more terrifying. Because Zymin is alone in the back. Beat the gangsters all over the place. But fighting and fighting. Tsai Ming soon found out. There are too many people on the other side. It's just a waste of time to keep fighting like this. Thinking about it, Tsai Ming directly hit a path. Go find the boss of the other party. It's a king-to-king, foot-to-foot game. Lee Jun fights against high IQ gangsters. Choi Woo-kue. He faced the yellow-faced big brother, who was also big. The Kung Fu Kid reprimanded the heavens. The third battle of the Haechong School. And Yoon Jae-myung is one step ahead. Go and challenge the king in Haechong School. The battle has just begun. Choi Moo-kyu began to taunt. Is there something wrong with your face being so yellow? Do you want to go to the hospital to stop it? And immediately after, the yellow-faced brother noticed that his companion was flying. Tianchi Maru also wiped his neck from the side of the yellow face in an instant. There are some differences in yellow faces, isn't that the one? At this time, there was a mockery. Tianchi Maru is the Choi Moo-kyu of the little tricks. Raising your fist and charging the case is kung fu. Under Choi Woo-kuei's punch, the yellow face can only be passively blocked. He found the strength of this guy's attack is not very strong. That's because his purpose is not to hit. He was ostensibly attacking with his fists. But in reality, it is like a cunning snake. The target is on the wrist. After discovering this, whether it's Choi Woo-kuei exposing his flaws, it's good. Choi Woo-kuei deliberately provoked. Yellowface is trying his best to endure. Because if he just does it, he loses. Finally, after Choi Woo-kuei punched empty, Yellowface seized the opportunity. A punch hit Choi Moo-kyu's retro. On the side of Tianchi Maru, it is a different style of painting. The gangsters were under the combo of Tianchi Maru's moves. I can only desperately escape. But the gangsters were still not afraid of death and began to taunt. He finally recognized who the person in front of him was. Aren't you a Tianchi pill for no reason? Ma Minghuan's fanatical happiness. So it's your master who said Ma Minghuan faded. You're for that kind of guy. And no reason to mix up. It's just a lackey. With the taunts of the thugs, Tianchi's face became more and more gloomy. Finally, there seems to be a line of fire next to the gangsters. Then an arm appeared in front of him. The fuse of the master's forbidden moves. Under one blow, the thugs fell to the ground. And not only the gangsters reacted. The knee of the heavenly reprimand has already attacked. On the other side, Choi Woo-kuei also said yes. Grabbed Yellowface's arm. Use the airway to capture the yellow face instantly. I'll pick you up by the arm first. In danger of having his arm broken. Fortunately, the yellow face broke free in time. But Choi Woo-kuei didn't care. Because he's just done that. It's just a warm-up. Oddly enough, on the other side, the Battle of Tianchi Maru is not over yet. Gangsters are like Xiaoqiang who can't be killed. Let the Tianchi pill hit it. The thugs were able to stand up unharmed. Yes, this gangster is not anti-hitting. Rather, there is no pain. He has congenital analgesia. And this is a skill that he is proud of. Relying on this ability, he has been able to go all the way to the present. Tenchimaru, on the other hand, did not bother with the ecstasy of the gangsters. Just walked straight in front of the gangsters. The thugs were just about to fight back, only to find that the body could no longer move. Occipital bone acupoint. Healthy Qi Si acupoint. These are the deadly acupuncture points in Yingchuan Spring. It stands to reason that he should have fainted by now. Yes, just because you don't feel pain doesn't mean it doesn't exist. In the eyes of Tianchi Maru, he's just putting his hand in boiling water. Also don't know the fool who was cooked. I really sympathize. Boom punch. The battle is over. And at this time, it was on Choi Woo-kuei's side. It's hard to solve. Both men needed a decisive blow. Finally, the yellow face took the lead, according to his knowledge of the airway. At this time, you should lose your treasure. And at this moment, Choi Woo-kuei made a move that he didn't expect. Before the coma, Huang Lian only had time to spit out a sentence. This is not what he prayed for. Yes, this trick is exactly what he learned from Kim Sun-cheol last time. Look to the other side. Tenakameru has also long since settled the battle. Zimao has been beaten beyond recognition. Then next, there are only the most left on Lee Jun and In Jae-myung's side. It's the end of the showdown. How strong is Lee Jun today? You could put a high IQ with your feet alone. The thugs were powerless. Two young men who have changed their minds and changed their faces from the sidelines. I also discovered the change of Lee Jun. Today's Lee Jun is simply the same as before. Question: it's only been 5 months at most. but fighting and fighting. Lee Jun immediately noticed that something was wrong. Gangsters. From the beginning, he barely avoided Lee Jun's attack. Slowly became able to fight back against Lee Jun. Yes, that's exactly how this gangster fights. He is best at analyzing the opponent's moves in a fight, so as to regain the dominance. So many thugs were defeated at his hands. And just when everyone thought, when Lee Jun was about to finish, Lee Jun slammed one-handed support on the ground the moment he fell to the ground. Quietly rely on the strength of your arms and abdomen. Kick the thugs into the air. Then he rushed straight towards the gangsters. The gangster's CPU is going to burn. Since that moment ago, it is completely impossible to calculate Lee Jun's next move. Click. Lee Jun jumped high on the soles of his feet. This is the move that Ng Zai Ming taught him, Brother Tongshin. Wyvern kicks down. The battle is over. And just when Lee Jun pretended to be forced after winning the battle, a thug sneaks up from behind with a brick. Fortunately, it was successfully stopped by the Wash Heart Leather Noodle group, and it was Lee Jun and others. Prepare to go to the old master of the other party. The high IQ thugs on the ground actually laughed. A bunch of silly forks stopped dreaming. At the beginning of the school year, I've also challenged once without knowing the height of the sky. To the main pavilion. Until I didn't even make a single move, I lost. Do you think you can win against him? However, when Lee Jun heard this, he also laughed, and so did I. I haven't hit him once so far. I mean our boss. Interestingly, Han Ng Jae-ming went the wrong way again this time. The place where Yudao Town is located is the new gymnasium. And there is no Yudao Town here. But there is something more terrifying than Yudaojin. 100 gangsters, and the first one to find Yudaojin. It turned out to be Lee Jun, who had just finished a fight. Lee Jun was a little puzzled about where you were. Did he think he would be able to plant the school flag when he came? But Lee Jun's character is that everyone wants to fight. Soon he fought with the gangster boss. The results were unsurprising. Still beaten, under the absolute strength of the other party. Lee Jun was beaten and had no power to fight back. But the heart-washing noodle group on the side didn't think so. When Lee Jun was fighting with a high IQ gangster just now, and they found out, Lee Jun Guang with his legs. It's not because his legs are more powerful than his fists. On the contrary, it can cause a lot of inconvenience. And it can also be seen from the muscles of Lee Jun's arms. His arms didn't stop training. That is to say, Lee Jun should be practicing some kind of practice. Let him use his fists in restraint. And just then he thought about it. The unthinkable happened. The gangster boss who just abused Lee Jun. But the body suddenly leaned back. It's as if you've been hit hard. That's right. Lee Jun punched. There is Lee Jun, who is personally taught by Jae Myung. How strong is it now? This man who killed Matt is the boss of Haechang School. Yudao Town. It was supposed to be an opponent that Ng Jae-ming came to deal with. But he was found by Lee Jun first. Lee, after the fist lifted the seal that lasted for 5 months, can actually fight back and forth with this bastard. After being beaten up by gangsters. At this time, Lee Jun finally sees the opportunity. Hold the ground with one hand. A high kick knocks the thug to the ground, and it's in Lee Jun. When about to give the gangster a decisive blow, a stool flew over suddenly, smashed into Lee Jun's head. And it is not the enemy who throws this stool. I was just deceived. Ling's students. Out of extreme fear, he chose to betray. And just when he was complacent, Yu Daojin gave him a punch in the abdomen. Then he beat the man with a black face. He doesn't like to be intervened when there is a fight. Do you think I'm going to treat you well? After solving the insider, Yu Daojin walked to the Shishin Leather Noodle restaurant again. As the people of the Northern Union, it's all about cheering for Luching School. In his eyes, these two people are also traitors. And at the time of this crisis, a hand suddenly caught the joy on the shoulders of a new leather-faced teenager. It's the people who just arrived. It's change, you can go and rest. The young man with a new leather face looks at the shadow in front of you. Why are his clothes tattered? I'm still breathing a little short. At this time, Choi Woo-kue and Tenchimaru, who had just finished fighting, came to the stadium where Tsai Ming had just left. I just saw the thugs all over the ground. Tsai Ming had just come in. Choi Woo-kue and Tenchimaru rushed over. Choi Woo-kue squeaked his joints, strode towards the town of Yudao. But he was stopped by the early Ming dynasty. There was not the slightest emotion in his eyes. "I'll come on, Brother Woo-kue." Choi Woo-kue had no choice but to sit obediently on the side. Brother Woo-kue should be called the eldest brother, right? See this scenario. Tenchimaru also found a place to sit down. Looks like a good show. Knowing that it will be over soon, Hankyeong told Yudao Town about the conditions. "If I win, don't move into high school students again. I'll be there for you to the end." And this sentence is with you to the end. But it evokes bad memories of Yudao Town. Angry Yudao Town punched, blasted towards Jae Ming, and with one kick, he will fly into the trees. And Zai Ming stabilized his body and didn't say a word. Then he jumped high. Uncle Forbidden Trick's 7th trick. Jingwoo Gate jump ladder. Bang the kick. The fish passage is falling to the ground in disarray. Then Tsai Ming continued. Follow. A punch knocked Yumichi Town into the pile of desks again. At this moment, Yudao Town finally realized. This guy is not a normal person. No wonder you can't eat hidden titles. Let me not underestimate him. And it was when Daojin was thinking. Jamin had already appeared above him. Just like that, a punch fell from the air, punched his head deep into the floor. Looking at the invincible attitude of the wild in the air, Yudao Jingqi's eyes were bloodshot. Back then, his father took the initiative to challenge Dermatitis White and died. In the mouth of Dermatitis White, his father was weakling. But that's not where he gets angry. The strong do whatever they want. The weak are at their mercy. This is the law of this society. He was angry. Deciding the strong and the weak is not about hard work or not. It's about whether there is talent or not. When I grow up, he met Pai Yinbai's son, Pai Hanyu. He wanted to try. Pai Hanyu. How amazing is that so-called talent? But he found out he doesn't even have the qualifications to fight Pai Hanyu. Pai Hanyu said of him, no two of them can deal with it. It's so cute. And he has been training under Ji Yingzhan for several years. I thought I could erase this gap. But again by another gifted guy. Press and rub on the ground. Tsai Ming listened to Yudao Town's self-talk. A sidekick kicks Fishway Town into the air. You're such a strange person. Think that's cool. What a talent. Talent. These are not cool at all. The fourth move banned by my uncle is zero distance boxing. A punch knocked the thug to Choi Woo-hue's side. In your eyes, this person is very boring. Does something innate make sense? In order to get what you don't have, I tried my best to get it in the end. That's what makes me miserable. And at this very moment, a voice came, planning to plant the school flag. Whose idea was this? The school lives up to its name. Chwandu is so ruthless. Everyone thought about it and was terrified. When did this person appear here? Hello, I'm Goliath from Northern Union. Jamin walked up to the man with a black face. None of this has anything to do with me. Now get the fuck off my friend. The man stood up obediently. But everyone was stunned. How did this man grow so tall? Meanwhile, Huang Lian also came over with a group of people. Study group brother pose. Look nervous. Can't these people even admit defeat? And just when the two sides were about to fight, that Goliath said that he was willing to gamble and lose. Everybody stop. The yellow face rushed forward unconvinced. But he was easily tripped by the man. Then the man stepped on the yellow face body. If Hei Chong is embarrassed again, I won't do anything wrong. From now on, take control of the 7 schools in your hands. It's all handed over to the road proclamation. Subsequently, the man took over the school enterprise in Tianqi's hands again, plugged into the couch next to it. This is easy to explain to the organization. And just as the man was leaving, was born as a leader by Tsai Ming. Go to the one named Ji Yingxian. I'll be looking for him soon. How charming is this simple male protagonist? Tsai Ming just raised his head. Just turn a sister fan into obsession. The study group has just returned from Hankyeong school. I saw Chui Wukue, who came to greet them. Girlfriend Hong Yaxing, with his two best friends. Chui Wukue pulled the three people and said that they were going to celebrate. Hong Yaxing's best friend glanced at him. I saw the victims carrying Li Jun on their backs. Looked at the inconspicuous Tsai Ming. He also thought it was Chui Wukue's little follower. Choi Mukyu laughed and introduced everyone. Denote. Hankyeong School is all laid out by Tsai Ming alone. But he accidentally filmed Tsai Ming's acting skills. And a second ago, he regarded Tsai Ming as a little brother. S-girl fell in an instant in the next second. Tsai Ming said that he wanted to go home to study. The next moment the hand was caught. The girl's face is flushed. Let's go together. This is my heart's desire. But just came to KTV. Tsai Ming regretted it. It's never been seen before. Let Tsai Ming break out in a cold sweat with nervousness. Li Jun also seemed to have discovered a new continent. It was like he was talking to a real girl for the first time. Looked at Li Jiyu's stinky face every day. He forgot what it's like to talk to a real girl.